Hello and welcome. So this is kind of a test to see how this setup works. Yeah, what we're going to be doing today is painting a little bit of infinity. So this box is what we're going to start with. So pretty much this color scheme and this kind of non-metallic. So it's the Oceania, Neoterran, Capitaline sectorial force. So I don't have a sectorial list. So with this box and then some pieces from the starter set, the original starter set. So Operation Ice Storm, and this is going to give me a pretty decent sectorial force that I'm going to use to play. So we're going to start with the Neoterran bolts. So I already have, you can see them on the camera, but I already have these four primed and mounted on these little bases, and I've got the lieutenant here. She's got a little bit of an arm problem at the moment. I'm gonna have to pin her arm. As you can see, she's got a pointing pose, and that arm, yeah, wasn't gonna stay with just super glue, so I'm gonna pin that. Everything else seemed to be okay with the rest of the poses, but yeah, she wasn't gonna work out. So yeah, so we're just gonna start doing the flat color. So they're based in Macragge blue, just using the Citadel paint and a little bit of the I believe it's the Tamiya metal primer. So they've got a clear metal primer for metal miniatures, and then I went over that with blue, but we're gonna be changing that blue a little bit. It's a little bit too bright, a little bit too space marine, so we're gonna be doing that. And I guess just to let you know, I guess as I'm using the paints, I'll put them on camera. So we're going to start just using, whoa, you can't even read that, the matte black. So the Army Painter's matte black is what I'm going to use, because I'm out of the Citadel black, for just basically the weapons. Gotta learn how to hold this on the camera. Basically the weapons and any of the little armor details, like their gloves, I think are all going to be black. And yeah, we'll do that. And their bases, I just use, I'm kind of going for like a broken mosaic tile look on the bases, you know, kind of rubble and mosaic. And these are actually magnetic sheet from magnetizing the Conan miniatures board game. So I magnetized all of those with a magnet sheet, but of course, since they're round bases, you had to make circles, so I'm cutting off a lot of corners off of these squares. And that's what's giving you this all these little triangles, and I thought that made a nice look for some sort of, you know, ruined battleground on Neoterra, or something that yeah, just had an interesting kind of sci-fi look that wasn't just going to be sand. So of course I got a little bit of sand texture, but then also these broken tiles. So that was a nice reuse of something I didn't think I would be able to do anything with. So yeah, this isn't really going to be a paint tutorial, but maybe I'll kind of talk as we're going, talk about what I'm doing, but mostly just a paint and chat. I gotta get a quieter chair maybe, yeah, but mostly just a kind of paint and chat. So let's see, I'll try to get the right position. Oh yeah, and just to kind of run over, so I'm just using kind of a cheaper Japanese hobby brush. So this is a size 2, and yeah, the miniatures themselves are magnetized. So I'll show you, there's just a little magnet on there. There's a washer glued to the this wood block to kind of hold that for me. And then this wood block is attached to just a piece of cork to make it more comfortable to hold. So this gives me a little bit of flexibility, because I can flip this upside down. If I'm gonna be pinning things, I can stick the pins into the top of this cork, and so I can actually use it upside down. So it makes them, you know, kind of flexible, and also, you know, do some you know, priming and spraying, you know, with them attached on here. But then they also work well for holding it while you paint, because as most everybody knows already, that you're you need to brace yourself, you know, so you need a surface to actually rest your hand against to get a steady texture. You get a steady stroke, so your paint goes where you want it to. And off camera I've got a wet palette, and just because it's pretty dry in here, and also I tend to go pretty thick with the paint, so wet palette helps me keep things thinned, because as you start to, especially when you're painting a lot of miniatures, you start to get a little impatient or get a little tired, and aren't as efficient with thinning And so the wet palette helps, and then of course it's good for blending and keeping things from drying. So we're just going to do basically weapons and some of the exposed armor on these guys in black. So kind of that inner thigh panel, the gloves, and yeah, I haven't decided. And oh, actually, yeah, and later I can bring up my my army list for these guys and kind of go over the specs. But these are all the Neoterran bolts that were in that base set. And they've got their little drop bears. I put, so 3 of them have the drop bears on their hips, so they've got kind of a anti-personnel mine that they can fling. So yeah, let's just get started with basing just the weapons themselves in black. And this, since I'm doing all the flat colors, this might be a little bit quicker and messier. And I have never painted on camera before, so this is a new experience. So I'm just trying to get a base color down here. So we'll work up from here. And the regular black that I've used from both Vallejo and Army Painter is quite glossy. So that's nice if in some situations, if you want to have kind of do differences in texture or appearance, to have a combination of flat black and kind of gloss black. So things like, if you want to try to do patent leather or certain kinds of like formal dress leather on characters or things, or brims on hats and things can actually look nice with a little bit of gloss black, but for the most part, especially for weapons and things, the flat I think gives you the nicer result, and we're not going to see so much of this black. I'm going to be doing a lot of work on top of it. So I think this is working out okay. So the chat is up, so that'll come up on screen, and we'll just kind of give this a try. So keep painting, and hopefully it's going to stay in focus as I'm moving this around. I'm just going to need to move it where I have to see, and I hope that stays actually in frame on camera. And actually my head is going to be a little bit of a difficulty too. I might be looking down. So this might make me actually a slower painter than usual. So that's the fingers of the gloves, and I think we're just going to do black on those fingers and then just pick them out with lighter gray later. And so of course, as most people know watching this, Infinity is made by a Spanish company, Corvus Belli, and they have a really nice kind of anime aesthetic, but the world is very interesting. I think the lore and the setup of the world is very interesting and very fun to read the background. It really gets you excited about the theming. The armies, each army plays a different way, and they're very there's a lot of personality, and based on your kind of play style, you can choose certain types. So the Oceania are basically the rich kids, so they've got they got the best weapons and they got the biggest weapons, but they also get expensive, and they also don't have a lot of the fancy technology or the kind of variation in types of characters. They're pretty straightforward compared to a lot of the other armies. And let's see here. So that's still the handle and that's still the glove. So yeah, sorry, try to keep this on camera. Yeah, so any advice for people watching this that have experience watching painting videos would be great, because this is the first time doing this and I'm not sure how pleasant or unpleasant this is to watch. And also the volume, I think I might be pretty loud. I'm using the camera microphone because I'm kind of putting my head down, so instead of having a bigger external mic like sitting in front of me, which you usually do for other streaming or for podcasting, I'm just using the mic on this camera, which seems to be pretty sensitive, and hopefully it's not picking up too much of the noise coming from the road. We've got behind me there's kind of a semi-busy highway, so you might be hearing some of that. And let's see here. So I don't think, and I guess the neck, yeah, so it's just the mask part that I'm going to want to do red. So this piece on the neck here is going to be black because it needs to be metallic. So we'll fill that in. And at this point, you know, you don't have to be super precious with things because there's going to be a lot of opportunity to go back and kind of correct areas that were too, where where you spilled into things that you didn't want to color that way. And maybe even the back of the head, because as you see, the top of his head, that mask is just the front. I think everything beyond that needs to be black. Yeah, so, and I'm just gonna fudge this in there. Yeah, because the red, especially the red highlights, will probably be some of the last things that I'm doing here. So I'm gonna get the back of his head. Yeah, so maybe just down to there. All right. So as you can see already on the gun, it's getting it's drying to a nice matte black. So that has a real nice look to it, and it's fun to work off of. It's got, you know, a little bit of a texture to it, so you can dry brush and things off of it pretty well. All right, so let's do that holster black. So I'm still trying to figure out as far as archiving this. So I'll put this on the Idle Red Hands YouTube channel. But also I'm wondering if I should take this recording and do a time lapse, because, you know, the speed of actual miniature painting is mind-numbingly slow, and you often see when people are doing painting time lapse, so they're doing it's very fast, you know, 600 times or whatever speed to get a better, you know, a better pace, so they can explain what they're doing and it doesn't, you know, have to keep slowing down. All right, where else are we gonna? Okay, I think his boots we're gonna want to do. So there's just some blue details, and most of this armor, especially the one that's separated here, is going to need to be kind of the black metallic. So we'll just stick this in here. Yeah, so anybody watching, we can also, I mean, we don't need to limit ourselves to infinity and miniature painting. We can talk about the podcast or any videos on the YouTube channel or anything coming up. We actually are going to, we bought the books, and I made a set of templates for Gaslands, so the new Osprey kind of post-apocalyptic excuse me, post-apocalyptic kind of death race game. So we've got some matchbox cars to distress, or actually Tomika, the Japanese, you know, kind of equivalent, which are really nice and kind of expensive, but yeah, really interesting and really nice. And there's a lot of funny, very familiar, you know, kind of everyday Japanese vehicles in there. So yeah, so that should be coming up, and hopefully that'll be something we can stream. It seems like a pretty streaming friendly game, so we may be doing that soon, as soon as we both have our books, because the rules they're nice and detailed, but it's not going to take forever to get familiar with them. So that should be good. And I guess, yeah, I don't know how far I want to go with those boots. Yeah, so maybe this panel. See, I've got the camera at an odd angle. So yeah, this panel by the holster, I think I'll make black as well. Just kind of picking out those. So the main pieces of the armor, of course, you want to keep blue. Oh, and yeah, maybe the drop bears are going to need to be black too. I don't think there's got to be some detail on them, but not all blue. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think actually, yeah, we can always go back. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, we'll kind of decide that a little bit later. Still filling in around that mask. Yeah, so actually it is better to be sloppier with the with these coats so that you definitely overlap, because the worst thing, and especially if you're priming in lighter colors like white or gray, the worst thing is to miss spots and then have to go back with a previous flat color, because sometimes you don't see that while you're working, especially when things are wet. It's hard because everything is so glossy and reflective. It's hard to see when you've missed those colors. Okay, let's do this in the black. So the back, that little piece on the back of his legs. Yeah, so I'll get used to the camera angle and everything and try to where I'm painting what I'm talking about, have that actually come up be centered and visible on the camera. So just those panels on the back of his legs, and those will probably be red or something. Yeah, so, and I think the boots themselves, let's see, can probably, this can all be black as well. Yeah, so I thought of this because I needed to get motivated to get these painted to play, and then that kind of, our plans fell apart this weekend, but I was hoping that this would be a good motivation to just kind of paint and talk on the stream and kind of give people a little extra time to interact with what we're doing on the channel, and yeah, just kind of what we're working on. Alright, yeah, maybe here. And I think all that strapping, I'm not sure how much leather I'm going to do. I guess, yeah, there is a nice, I think that's a nice look, that combination of the blue, black, and leather. So I might do a little bit more of that as we're kind of going through here. And the idea or the look of a lot of these is that they've got a suit on with just plating over it. So they're wearing some kind of, you know, uniform underneath, and the plating just goes on top. So you do see like fabric of their uniform. So maybe the, you know, like, as you can see, the pockets and everything. So that's going to be more, I'll do a brown, so it has an interesting edge and contrast to the blue plating. Yeah, and his shoulders, I guess we'll do black around these plates. Let's see where that kind of, so maybe in here. And of course, if we change our minds, you know, it's not difficult at this kind of flatting stage to go back and yeah, make adjustments. And with black especially, that's not a, unless you're trying to do white over it, it's not too miserable to kind of revise. Yeah, I should probably give a listen, have some headphones on, so if anybody that's listening has a opinion about the, let's go back this way, has an opinion about the volume or the sound quality, please let me know. I'm not sure what I'm sounding like right now. The levels on the streaming software look okay, but that doesn't mean that it's not distorted or that the sound quality is good. It's the first time using this microphone, so I hope that it turns out okay. Yeah, it looks like I can do a lot of brown on the drop bear, so it looks more like a rucksack, and that's all going to be, maybe this should be black, and then the back of his legs will be the brown of his uniform. Yeah, so these are metal. I'm sure you couldn't maybe tell from the after they were primed, but these are metal miniatures, so they're a little bit fiddly to put together. If you've done more recent plastic stuff, maybe you're getting a little bit spoiled because those are all done on computer and cast perfectly. So a lot of the new Warhammer stuff it's just amazingly easy to assemble because it just has that benefit of, you know, computer assisted, and the casting is just very, very precise now. So promise I'm trying to paint so you can see this, but I keep choosing an odd angle. Yeah, I gotta stay up towards the camera here for you. Yeah, so I have no idea what to expect about like how long I can actually do this because it's a little bit unnatural a position, so I'll have to work on getting things more comfortable, and hopefully the lighting. Yeah, so here, like for example, that strap there, it's a little bit thick, but at least I'm getting like total coverage, and then when I go back for the blue I can get a black, I'm sorry, brown, the brown of the uniform, I can get a cleaner line. So I think, yeah, we'll just do all of that brown and maybe this inner panel black to kind of balance that. So those chest, yeah, the chest panels all blue, shoulder pads will be brown with some detailing, and then these higher pieces are going to be red to match the masking itself. So maybe, yeah, brown will be the next color here. So let me just kind of go back to some of the places. Yeah, and actually, yeah, between the panels I'm going to try to the armor plates, try to get a little bit more black in there, even if it's a little messy, just so we can have something to contrast. Maybe this inner thigh as well. Yeah, that'll be nice. Yeah, so as I said, this can be much messier, and that's why I'm using a bit of a wider brush for it, and this can be securing that piece right there and get this all the way in. Yeah, so at this stage you just kind of want to block things in and, you know, make some of those color decisions. Yeah, so just picking out the picking out the parts. Let me see here. Is there anything else? Yeah, it's actually really nice to I can see what I'm showing you on the monitor. Yeah, I think that'll work for the blacks. Is there anything else? Well, I think to match, maybe I need to get that bicep on both sides. Yeah, so this part under the armor. And yeah, here it looks like there's a little bit of a separation, so make that black, and probably this. Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay, so I think that'll be the blacks for this guy. For now, we might have to go back and retouch, and especially if we've made any decisions, you know, any other differentiating any color decisions with the other models, we might have to go back and kind of match things up to give a nice consistency to the color scheme. Yeah, so the underside of the glove there, and the fingers of the glove, and actually that gun. Go all the way against the body. There we go. Alright, as you can see, I'm going outside of lines and it's a little bit messy, but we'll tighten up, and as a specialist we're using a smaller brush, you know, we'll be able to tighten up a lot more. So let's move on to the next guy. Alright, so similar, so he's got a bit more black because he's showing a bit more on the side there. So we'll start with the gun. That seems to be the easiest piece. And yeah, we'll keep the fingers of the glove black. That looks nice. And that cylinder, I guess I'll hold off on that. That cylinder is gonna need to be a little bit different color, some kind of more rusty orange, just to show the texture of it. And there, the back with his thumb. Alright, yeah, I hope this is coming across okay. On the stream, everything seems to look okay on my end. So we'll see. He's got a little bit more, so this neck piece is black. He's showing a lot of neck over here. But it appears that more of his, he's got a little bit more blue on his helmet than the regular previous guy. But of course all this back is metallic as well. But yeah, looks like some more of that will be blue than in the other guy. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I want this black as well, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Can always change our minds at this point. Yeah, it's a little bit too much. Alright, and the same sort of thing. There's some strapping, and I think we'll just go with inside these panels with the black, and behind the knee panel. Alright, and do we have enough of his fingers? Yeah, we'll go a little bit lower because they seem to be kind of going into the sleeve a little more. And then of course the fingers on this hand are much more hidden, but we still have this side of the handle. Alright. So just checking, gotta keep my eye on the chat just in case. Alright. Yeah, I'm noticing there's a little bit of cleanup that I missed on with the metal guys. Cleaning up some of the mold lines is a little trickier. But I think it'll be okay. They're not really big. They're pretty subtle. But I just hate that because these are such, intricately detailed models, and I just really hate to ruin some of the design by missing a mold line. That really sucks. Yeah, and the one thing that is a little frustrating with the metal models, when you're looking at them in metal form, it's sometimes very hard to see some of the detail. It's not until you really get them primed that you see where you're gonna be coloring them and how you want those pieces to look. That's a bit different from plastic. I think you see on plastic you see a lot of the detail in its original form, but with metal it gets a little bit distracting. That metallic coloring gets a little bit distracting, so it's hard to see some detail. So what's going on with these boots? Yeah, I guess we'll just keep the bottom part black and keep that top shield blue. Yeah, that'll work. Alright, yeah, that seems to fit. And then he's got that. Oh, sorry if I've. Oh, geez, I don't mean to be doing that off camera. I gotta be paying more attention. And so the panel that I'm looking at is, yeah, so his upper leg there. And actually, I can see on camera, I need to go in a little bit more. There we are. Oh, I'm talking about the back here. The back of this leg, that panel needs colored. And when I was doing that, it was completely off camera. So yeah, oh, sorry, that it's just the angle. So apologies, I'm not good at paying attention to the camera orientation. I'm just trying to get my brush in there where it needs to go. But I'll get better. And maybe have to, yeah, kind of switch the position of the camera a bit. Wow, but I like how clearly you can see. How clearly you can see everything. Yeah, so a little bit more of this guy. I think I'm going to overlap that cylinder a bit because I'm going to have to go back. Wow, and in some cases, probably you watching this can see better than I can about what's going on because the camera is really getting some decent detail there. So I've got just a kind of a fluorescent work light like right above, you can see it's casting done, right above me to kind of get you a lot of detail and how to play with the exposure on the camera so it wasn't too crazy, either dark or blown out. So that's kind of optimal distance. I gotta be ready with that. So those are just going to be the trousers inside the uniform. The cylinder there, there's a little bit on this gun still. Yeah, I'm not sure. Move him off a little bit. I'm not sure if there's anything else I need. Yeah, because he's got shoulder straps for his backpack. That's all blue. Yeah, I think he's good. I might have to go back if there's anything that changes. But there's going to be a lot of brown with that uniform showing through. But maybe this leg plate, I think, is going to have to be black. That looks better. Kind of contrast. I like when the blue is thin, and then when I'm playing, those lines up, it'll look really nice. Oh yeah, and I gotta figure out how I want to do the texture on the inside of that of his coat there. Is there anything else black? Maybe this underneath the coat. We'll do that. We can always change that. But that might be a nice thing to pick out some more metal details instead of only blue. Alright, and on his arms, let's see here. Yeah, so maybe this to kind of reinforce the plates over the suit. So maybe we'll do this area and then just rely on that contrast of the shoulder pad. So again, like the other one, the biceps, painting the biceps and arms, and then there's arm plates and then gloves, like edges of their gloves. Yeah, so get a little bit more black going here and around some of these details. Yeah, so as far as Infinity, there's some... I'm not a insanely experienced player. I've only had a few matches and built basically just the two forces from the starter box. So I've got nomads, adding in some sisters, some of the battle nuns, and the PanO with the basic force that you start with that box, and then adding in the Neoterran sectorial box. So not a huge variety, and the guy that I play with mostly, Nick, he has the Red Veil, I believe, the second starter box. So he's Yuqing and the Hak Islam. So it's a nice variety. I mean, they're very different in appearance and tactics and capabilities. So I think the older starter set was good for me, especially Nomads and PanO being pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of complicated mechanics with a lot that they're doing. So that worked out well for me. And we're kind of switching over. Yeah, we're a little bit light on the priming under his arm, but I think we'll be good. So we switched over from Malifaux, so we were playing Malifaux pretty regularly. And yeah, Infinity just felt like a more relaxing, more enjoyable game. And there's something more interestingly cinematic about it. Or, I mean, you're just, when you're doing the line of sight, and so we're using like a laser pointer to do line of sight and aiming. And it's really fun. The cover, it's so dear and so important to have, to be in cover and to be able to make movements out of the way of people, shooting at you. So it's a very fun interaction. Okay, I think we'll go with that for him. And continue on to the next guy with his black. So yeah, it was a much more relaxing and kind of the fun level was a little bit higher, and it was just an enjoyable skirmish game. Malifaux gets a little bit tense and bogged down sometimes. It's got a really nice theme, really interesting theme, and I love the card mechanic for Malifaux. And actually, Nick and I did a podcast for Idle Red Hands on Malifaux and talking about the other side Kickstarter and things, which still has not shipped. It was supposed to be a Christmas in December, and then they pushed it back, and I think the Kickstarter is still kind of open because things keep getting unlocked. It's the most unruly Kickstarter ever, but yeah, so the other side is on its way, which is a more kind of squad-based tactical version of Malifaux combat, with still some of the crazy magic, steampunk, and sorcery and things of the skirmish game. But this is more squad-based tactical, and you have multiple units on. I'm sorry, I'm painting that all off camera. Jeez, multiple units on bases, and so squads, and you have kind of rally. There's a mechanic where troops can be inspired and gives them different benefits or different bonuses, and so a very different type. I mean, the same world, but a different type of game from Malifaux. So both Nick and I were excited about that. So we talked about that on the podcast. So just a basic introduction to Malifaux, and then talking about a little bit about Through the Breach, the RPG, and then the upcoming The Other Side. Okay, I'm trying to stay on camera. Yeah, I need somebody watching this and just boo, 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 yelling at me as I go off camera, because I'll talk. It's very, it's very two things at once feeling. So I'm trying to get a good angle with the brush and light paint in there, and then be conscious of you seeing something somewhat watchable on the video. So a little tricky. I'll go back in there, I think, with blue later. So, yeah, so that's kind of the experience I've had. So we've had a few, that may be brown actually. We've had a few games, and we're just basically using the a huge assortment of, I think we've got a total of like 4 or 5 sets. I think a total unassembled of like 6 sets, but we're just using the cardboard scenery because you need a pretty full table and a lot of line of sight blocking on Malifaux, or Malifaux, on Infinity. Malifaux too, but in Infinity, you need to block a lot of line of sight. So yeah, we have several sets of the kind of included starter set cardboard, and I'll tell you, they really improved it between the 2 starter sets. The Red Veil cardboard is really nice and has has bridges, has walkways and different kinds of elevation that they didn't do with the original Operation Ice Storm. But I was surprised. It's a really decent looking table. That was a little bit intimidating with Malifaux because you need it's a small table, but you need it to be so full because without blocking a lot of that line of sight, it's just going to be a shooting gallery. You need a lot going on so that there's a lot of strategy with maneuvering, and you can stay out of each other's line of sight. So that's so at first I was worried about putting together that table, but they really did a good job, and I think maybe they knew that was something people may have been concerned about, so they definitely provided you, once you combine a couple of those sets, you have a really thick table, really dense table that works well. So I was very happy about that, because that was the one thing about Infinity that concerned me, because you'd see these really gorgeous, really elaborate tables, and that looks like it's either incredibly expensive or it's going to take a lot of time to put together. But it wasn't bad at all. And from that starter cardboard, if we if we keep going with Infinity, we can keep adding to it with more substantial, maybe the Plasticraft or somebody's MDF or plastic sheet scenery to get some variety in there. But yeah, as it is now, it's a real decent setup for nothing, for just being included in the starter set. And then I purchased a few, like on clearance, additional copies of it. So we've duplicated the same buildings a few more times, because they give you a combination of buildings and storage crates and things. You can really make those stretch those out and give a bigger variety of types of structures and things, because you can put crates on top of the buildings and have them in different configurations, so that works well. Not sure this is how I want to color this, but we'll just do this for now. And that whole upper arm thing again. Yeah, so that's all armor. I think. Yeah, wow, I can see so much better on camera. I don't know what that says about my eyesight. Yikes. So whose neck is this? He's got quite thick. Oh, that's this guy. So yeah, so we can make all of this the metallic, kind of coming underneath the mask. So he's more similar to the first guy. He's got less blue and more black, more metallic on his design. I think that's all brown. That's like a, oh, what is that? Like a sweater? I'm gonna make that metallic. Looks like it's blue from that point. But yeah, that'll be nice, because I can pick out those little divisions there with some highlights and make that stand out, and then maybe go back and wash some of those lines back in. Yeah, so I should have prefaced this by saying, you know, this is not, I said, not a painting tutorial, and also, you know, this is basically going to be tabletop quality. Probably fuss around, and you know, depending on, oh, I'm sorry, that's all painted off camera. You know, you fuss around with things to a certain extent, but eventually you just have to stop if you want to, you know, actually play. So I'm going to do, you know, flats and washes and some detailing, but nothing that's going to probably add a lot to your skill, your painting skill. It's not going to go beyond anything you've seen before or know of. So it's just a nice opportunity to yeah, to paint and talk about the game and what's going on with Idle Red Hands and all that good stuff. All right. Okay. Oh, I'm going to call that black as well. I think all of that would be helped by being filled in. Yeah, sorry, I keep putting the model in the way. Yeah. It's definitely tricky. Yeah, I had, before I was going to do streaming, I had set up the actual video camera that we use for recording podcasts and things, you know, video podcasts. I had it set up over my shoulder, and that is probably the most natural angle to be doing this, because then, you know, you're kind of seeing what I'm seeing, and I turn things towards my view, and then they're in your view, so that may be a better way to go. But this was just kind of a test to see, you know, how we could get this to work, and sound-wise too. I was very curious if I needed a more complicated microphone. And I guess that'll be the problem if I do over the shoulder, is that then the microphone is behind my head. And yeah, that's not going to be ideal for hearing what I'm saying. So yeah, we'll see. We'll keep experimenting with this and get feedback from people, and I'll keep paying attention to you know, what I'm seeing online, because there's some really great, really amazingly well done painting tutorials that are just, you know, you can see everything they're doing and you really get a good appreciation for the skill of the painter. Alright, he's looking pretty good, I think. What about that inside leg thing? It's kind of an undecided area. Let's just go black for now. Yeah, and actually I'm surprised the painting looks better on camera than it does to my eye. I can see a lot more irregularities. It looks nice and more evened out on the camera. Oh, is there some blue? I can't tell. Still some blue on that gun. Yeah, I thought I was going to be saving myself some time with that blue base, but I just don't like the color. It's very halo, you know, it's very ultramarines, but yeah, it's not quite what I wanted to do. So right there, I guess, is the focus. Yeah, so the shoulder pads are going to be leather with some brown detail. Let's see, maybe, yeah, under his chin, he's still got some stuff that's showing that a wash might take care of that, but let's not risk it. So under his chin. All right. Yeah, that looks good. Anything else? Yeah, just trying to get in any tight places that I'm not going to want to touch after I start putting details on. Okay, I guess here, got some space between plates. Alright. Yeah, that's looking decent. Yeah, you can see like on that knee I went over a little bit, but we'll be cleaning that up. And then over there, yeah, I'm kind of over the edge. So I'm actually over and then not enough there. Oh, great. Okay. There we go. So that should be everything on him. Yeah, I think so, because I'm going to keep that. Well, does that need to be black too? Yeah, maybe here to kind of give us the best contrast with the red on that mask. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Okay. So now on to our armless lieutenant. Yeah, I really loved this figure. It was heartbreaking when I couldn't keep her arm on there, but we'll get that sorted. And get her pointing as soon as we can here. Alright. Ugh, off camera. I'm sorry, I gotta always be looking at what I'm doing here, both on the camera and on the miniature. Yeah, so I guess upside down is probably the best way for you to see this. Yeah, so that means over the shoulder might be better, so it might be best to just go with a wow, let's see here. Yeah, to go with the camera over my shoulder, so I'm not having to pay so much attention. Because yeah, now I'm blocking when I'm painting with the miniature. Yeah, it's just tricky. What is up with her pose or something is giving me the getting weird angles here. And this part, yeah, see, you're not even seeing what I'm doing. Apologies for that. Yeah, so just that open part on the back of her. I guess we'll just do black here as well. Yeah, so under there. And a lot of these places I'm going to be lightening up. It's not going to stay so starkly black, but lighten up with the with grays and other kind of metallic looks to give the armor much more variety of tones. Yeah, right now just this black and blue is very red versus blue looking. Very color swapped halo teams. Alright. Okay, and the backs of her knees. Get all that black. Oof. Alright, so all of that's going to be brown. Yeah, so she's basically doesn't have that much armor plating on. It's more her uniform. All that's brown around those plates on her thighs. So, oh yeah, I usually started with the gun, so let's get that covered. The fingers on her glove. So yeah, I'll probably be having to do a pinning video to show her getting her arm back on. Or she could just be a war casualty. It shows how much of a veteran she is. She's been fighting this one-armed battle. Yeah, that's something I noticed, and it does, you know, it's a nice look, and it works well for the worlds they're talking about. But you know, 40K and some of the you know, like war zone and things get criticized for having the chunky, unrealistic proportions of the characters, but a lot of that really eases the painting, assembling, and the hobbying process, because you've got really thick limbs to pin and stick things to. And you notice with the more modern games, the more recent games, when they try to do more human, realistic proportions, so you get very thin, delicate limbs, and where things are connected are more realistic, so there's just not as much, actual area to attach things to. When you're gluing things, you really start to notice that about the more modern styles. It's nice that they're a kind of a more true scale, or true proportion of what humans would look like in 28 millimeters, but it's sometimes you really feel that. Oh, sorry, again, off the camera. You really feel that with the assembly. Malifaux and both Malifaux and Infinity have a little bit of that fiddliness where you're like, oh, that's so tiny, how am I going to ever get that to go on there or stick there? You get real small areas that you have to get things attached, or paint things. Things get a lot tinier, the painting process, and you've got a lot less area to do gradations and things. So it's definitely a difference with a lot of this more modern miniatures, is that without those silly kind of cartoony or kind of superhero proportions, they get a little trickier. And maybe people enjoy that because they've been in the hobby for a while. They might have some considerable skill and can apply that to more difficult miniatures. But at the same time, I would off camera again, sorry. Same time, I would suspect that it's a bit frustrating. So I'm gonna, so that's the missing arm there, and I'll just black around that so we can have that nice and concealed. Yeah, I don't think she has that much black under her, because a lot of this is going to be her uniform. Yeah, that's all going to be, maybe we'll do here to the edge of her pants. Oh, it's so tricky. I almost need to paint looking at the camera. That'll freak me out though, because it's a mirror, in kind of a mirror image. I think I'll be able to do that very reliably, but yeah, that's almost the best approach, is just have something mirrored. So yeah, she's going pretty well because there's not much to her, and she's missing that arm. All right, so I'm just going to take a quick look at the black places and see what I didn't hit very well. Yeah, so I guess that's the only black strap. Those are the straps I think are meant to be brown and part of her uniform, but that's holding that plate on, and that will be all brown. Okay, I think we're good. All right, good. So let's just get the back of her head. So as with the other ones, the mask, kind of stops at those little antennae, or the little ears off the top of it, the horns. Let's call them horns. So the back of it needs to be metallic as well, which will make a nice contrast. And if we look, I think she's got the same top edge of her uniform here, so let's make that all black. So her hair is just kind of sticking out on either side. She's got kind of the twin tail look, and on the box there, the blonde twin tails. That looks like a nice contrast though too. So we'll probably go with that. And do we want to put any more black in there? I think we're okay. We may want to do that later, but I think for now we're okay. Our little armless girl here. Yeah, we'll have to see. After we wash things, we'll have to see what kind of details are getting lost, or things that we need to kind of swap the colors of. But there we go. Okay, so that's everybody. That's the black, or what will be the metal. A lot of gray detailing. That's what will be the black on those figures. So blacks and grays, kind of so rubber and leather and metal. And so I guess we'll switch to brown next. So the brown that I was going to use, because I want things to be a little bit, keep things a little bit lighter, not so dark and heavy. So we're going to use the Citadel Scrag brown. It's got a nice kind of yellow to it, and then highlight it with maybe some ochre, or what do I have? Yeah, maybe do the Tau light ochre to give some nice edges and keep it very bright. Bright and yellowy, so the look of it with the blue matches. So it'll be a little bit more like a khaki brown than a actual heavy leather color. All right, should have washed my brush a little bit more doing that. I got some dried black in there. All right, we should be okay. Okay, so give this a decent shake. It's probably been a while. All right. Yeah, it's got a nice bright color to it. So onto the wet palette, and then I'll just add some water to this. And we should have a nice consistency to work from, and it'll should stay that way on the palette. All right. Well, let's go back with one of the earlier. Oh, sorry about that. With one of the earlier guys here. And so, things that we definitely want. The brown color would be something like the shoulder pads. So let's go in and put that. So see the get on the camera. Okay, so the Scrag brown has a nice yellowy look to it. So it looks nice against the bluer colors. So we'll go in and do all this leather. Yeah, so this whole section, if you can see it, I'll change my angle here, is the kind of upper shoulder pad, and then it'll have, so the straps there for the bear, or for the backpack, and then there's some metal ribbing or detailing on that. There we go. So maybe the edge of that. Okay. There we go. Sorry, off camera again. Might want to switch my brush. I'm not liking this brush. Is not in great shape right now. But yes, I just dip this down. Jeez, oh man. Okay, so on camera, there we go. Okay, so I goes all the way around the arm. On the other side, and then we're going to wash and do the highlight on those those ridges that are there. Yeah, we're going to probably need another coat of this to get over that blue. Yeah, because it seems kind of greenish coming through. Sorry, there we go. Yeah, so I thought I was doing okay with this, but yeah, it's not going as well. And that edge, there we are. Okay, and I think the bears, the drop bears, I think we'll do brown with them as well. We may change our minds once we kind of get those details in, but I think that's going to be a good color and a little bit more contrast, so things aren't so super blue at this point. Yeah, so we're going to need another coat because, as you can see, the blue is coming through and giving us a lot more greenish look than I think we want. But this will give us a first coat. Yeah, and some of the strapping and things I think we'll want to change the color of once this dries. Alright, a little bit more. Put him there. Yeah, but as that dries, it gets a bit darker and gives us a nice leathery look without being too dark and dingy. Okay. There we go. Alright. So just get the inside top here so you can see where that goes. Kind of work some of that paint. Over the edge there. A lot of that might be sorted out with the wash, but for now, let's just get a decent color everywhere. So we're gonna this isn't even on camera. I don't know how I'm gonna do this here. So I'm trying to get, as you can see, the underside of the drop bear, but you can see from behind there. So just between his legs, and just kind of hit that with the brush as best you can. And then this edge here, which I'm completely concealing with the miniature, but yeah, that edge that comes up around. I'm gonna get that. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do a couple passes at that, but does he have anything else we want to hit as leather? Maybe some straps later. Oh yeah, that top part of the strap, that was obviously needs to match. So from here, yeah, that's gonna be something we're gonna have to hit a couple of times to get that across. Does he have the kind of brown? Oh yeah, he does. Yeah. So maybe I do want to go with a little bit different color, maybe a khaki color. So I'll use the scrag brown for the leather, or what should be the shoulder pads and things. And I missed the back of his leg there. But yeah, the pants probably need to be more khaki than that, so we'll kind of on the fly revise that. But while I'm looking at it, let me hit that black that I missed on the back of his leg right there. There we go. And can put that in. Alright. That should be good. Yes, so I think we're going to have to do a little bit of on the fly changing there. Let me take a look as far as the other kind of khaki colors that I have or something that would work as far as a green or a brown, because I want a little bit of contrast. So so I'm thinking maybe ochre and camo. That's probably too light. It's going to be it's very greenish yellow and a little bit too light, but that might be a better contrast. Let's see. So that might be a good highlight. Let's see if there's something a little darker. Oh, should we go Death Guard green? I don't know. That's not going to be... Will it be khaki enough? Green enough? Yeah, because I'm not doing anything else very green on the model, so that might be an okay option. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so that's going to be a separate pass, but we'll go with those colors for the actual uniform that you're seeing underneath. So everyone's pants, like I was showing before, you know, everyone has kind of a uniform under their plating, and those pants will all be a more green, khaki green, and then we'll leave the Strachan brown for the leather strapping and things. Okay, so sorry about the arm there. Let's go this way. And I think for him, this is all going to be that camo color. So actually, without the drop bear, he may not have much we have to do. Yeah, actually almost nothing. Yeah, they show him, they do on the actual illustration or the example itself, he's got red pants, but I think we're going to do keep them all the same, because he's still just a bolt. He's still just a Neoterran bolt, but he does have his little coat on, giving him some camouflage. But yeah, I think that'll work better that way, because he still has the shoulder pads and the red on the mask. So this guy has the drop bear. Oh, actually though, yeah, because he doesn't even have the leather shoulder pads, and neither does she. So we've only got the two guys, yeah, that we're going to be doing the brown leather with. So let's go back and hit that drop bear. And try to do it on camera. So here's that same color, and even the strap itself is the same. So we get this on his hip. Yeah, it's got a nice contrast. Oh, well, all you've seen is my thumb. Okay, and then they're trying to do the underside here. Yeah, okay. I could just orient everything this way on the camera. I was doing so much better at this at the beginning. I guess it's like holding things up that you just don't want to keep doing. It's hard to maintain. Yeah, off camera again. Okay, there we go. Underneath, there we go. Yeah, I think over the shoulder is probably going to be good, unless I really get this figured out. Okay, and then his shoulder pads with the Strachan brown. Yeah, so these go completely to the edge of the uniform. And those details there will have the gray metal effect on them. Okay, yeah, this looks off the camera, so yeah, I definitely don't have this figured out yet. Alright, so there's the one side. And it's going to get worse when I'm working more detailed because I'm going to get so tight focused into what I'm doing. And I guess though I'll just take a moment before I do anything and look at the video. That may help. We'll see. And the other side. Yeah, so the big advantage of the wet palette too is colors that you put out aren't going to dry, so you can always go back to them. So that helps. I mean, it's not the main reason you would use it, but it's a big assist to go back and be able to either a color you mixed or a color you put out is going to already be there to go back and retouch things that you missed or you need to work on. Where am I going? Down here. Alright. Alright. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I can already see that I want to get some more black on the back of him, so let's do that because I think that's all the brown I'm going to be doing for now. So that back of his neck that you can see, want this to all be black. Yeah, that kind of stops right there on both sides, and because of his angle you can't really see where it stops on the other side, but something like that. Maybe black in there as well. Oh look, I'm on camera. Wow, that was great. Yeah, so this lower back can have that same look. Yeah, alright. There we are. Yeah, I just gotta keep my hand in that same kind of position. So there we are. So the brown on his shoulder pads. Let's check that top of his head. Yeah, it's looking good. Alright, so there we go. So that's the brown, and I think we're gonna have to switch to the khaki now because nobody else had the leather or the drop bear, so let's do that. So we can start with our armless lieutenant. So here, if I keep my hand, you'll be able to see a bit better. So she's got a lot of her uniform showing, especially from behind. That's all just uniform. There's only a little armor on her lower legs. So let's give the Death Guard green a shot. It's got a nice dirty camo color. It's a little sickly, but it should work, and we'll highlight it so it shouldn't be so dingy. But that might be a nice contrast with the blue. I think that's going to be give us a nice look. All right. More water. Yeah, and it's a base paint. So the nice thing about the Citadel base paints is they seem to have a lot more pigment in them, so you get really good coverage. So I'll get my hand in position here, and I'm just going to go over, see all of this want to be, yeah, all of this I want to be the camo khaki color. I'll have to figure out what I want to do. Might be still some blue on top there. And of course we're going to need some multiple layers. I think, because this is going to dry a bit darker, so I think that's going to be an okay color. Looks a little bright now, but it dries a bit darker. And we're going to be washing everything, so that should give us some darker look. And we can always go back in. If this just isn't going to do it, it's going to be too bright, we can go back in. But I've already painted a lot. Oh, did I not shake this enough? It's looking a little... Yeah, maybe I'll just need some coats. But it usually covers a bit better than this, but yeah, we'll see here. Yeah, because her uniform goes all the way up to these plates. So, and then as you can see there, this is all uniform. So it's literally just those small plates in front. Keep that to a minimum. Yeah, so see, this is all uniform. So, yeah, I think that'll work color-wise. We'll see. We'll know for sure when it dries, but yeah, she's got even up to here. That. Alright. So we'll just do the first coat on all of these guys. Yeah, because I need something to contrast. I don't want to put that brown on brown, so something to contrast. I think that looks good. Am I on camera? Yeah, I think that'll look good. So, yeah, getting in here is going to be a little bit of a trick. So the back of those legs, and then yeah, right above that holster. So we're gonna have to retouch that. Yeah, that's all gonna need to be uniform color. And even down here, I think like her, there's a strange texture there. So that's uniform, and of course here is uniform as well. So we can see that from behind the leg. So where's the straps? Maybe there. So here. Yeah, this is definitely going to need another pass for a nice even color, but you can see that working there. Alright, and he is going to have this whole coat in that color, especially for the outside. Oh, that's right, because I don't have that specialist, so he has a, oops, the specialist has a very, let's just go a junky brush to try to pick that off. Well, we're gonna have to leave that. Okay. Yeah, specialist has a big leather, so I'll do the scrag brown for that, but for his coat, I think I want this all to be khaki because the underside has the optical camo pattern. So we'll kind of want to contrast that. So this should work well. just go up to that edge. And we'll be retouching things. Oh, this holster, I missed that the last time too. And just go up to the edge and kind of figure out where we want to end all of that. Yeah. So we'll just make all of this edge green for now. Okay, I'm trying to catch those little pockets in there. Okay, so maybe here is still kind of coming off. There we go. Oh, yeah, I went over. Yeah, so I need to get that holster to kind of make sense there, and I think the other side's okay. So yeah, we've got up to this edge. So we're gonna have to go back for both of these and give them another coat. You can see the primer still, the base color still showing through. So that's him. And then yeah, we've got the same situation over here. This other extra shake. That seems a little funky. All right. Okay. Let's give this a shot. So yeah, again, we're contrasting right against that strap, so we definitely need some other kind of pant color. And then again above the holster, which you can't see. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go back with those straps, but I kind of needed that as a guide, or else I would have just, you know, kept painting over them and may have even completely lost them in the whole color scheme there. Yeah, and maybe a little bit above the drop bear there. Alright, yeah, so that's gonna have to get touched up. Okay, so there we go. And I think that's it as far as uniform. They don't have anything on their upper body. It's just mostly like their pants, like uniform pants. Oh, so that's probably why the choice was made to give him red pants, because it contrasts his big khaki jacket if this coat and pants are the same color. Yeah, so maybe I'll go with that as well. I'll do the red pants for him. That looks really nice. And it'll contrast then the khaki that's here. So see the blue, what his pants are now blue, but that'll contrast the color of the coat much more nicely. So yeah, we'll go with that. And the strapping and things. Alright. So, are we good? I think we'll do another light coat on the camo here. Or khaki, not camo. Make sure the color is nice and bright, and yeah, we're probably gonna do 3 layers, 3 coats, just to make sure that's a nice solid color. Oh, and actually, yeah, that's right, this is her pants too, above here, so all of this as well. Yeah, so that strap's gonna have to be redone. Okay. Off camera again. Yeah, working and filming is not an easy thing to keep track of. So we'll just worry about these straps later. I just want to make sure. Get a nice decent coat on everybody. A little bit more. Where is he? There he is. Green. Okay, let's do some thin. Oh, that's on camera, yeah. So just go over again and make sure we're covering. Yeah, that gun's gonna, everybody's gun's gonna need repainted, so get a nice solid khaki on all of that uniform leg. So a lot of the awkward ways that some of these colors are meeting, like you see between the drop bear and his pants and things, the wash is going to do a lot to you know, kind of put lines, you know, kind of, it's just like putting some thick traced lines between a lot of these areas and give you a much nicer way for them to meet, so it doesn't look of course when you go over like this, like the way that I'm doing, it's not going to help that, but some of those, you know, kind of awkward edges that aren't quite sharp enough will benefit a lot from the wash. Alright, yeah, I think we'll have to go back and do a little bit more brown as well. Great, let's bend this way a little bit. There we go. Okay. Let's go to him. I'm afraid that jacket isn't dry yet, the long coat. So, just hitting all those places to get us a nice even color. And above the drop bear there, and then under the leg, under the back of the leg. Okay, you can see it's overlapping a lot, but there's a big spot on the back of his leg. But we will, yeah, be evening all that out. Yeah, I think that's going to work as far as the khaki. Yeah, I haven't decided. I think I'm going to go with a warmer wash, just because it's a nice contrast to the blue. And then I'm going to be doing blue over everything, so I can hide as much of that as I want. But yeah, I think like the Agrex Earth shade would be a nice contrast to that, instead of, and then after I do some of the metallic work, maybe some of the Nuln Oil, so like a black wash, so kind of a brownish wash and then a black wash. Okay, I think that extra couple of minutes have helped. Let's get another coat on camera on this guy. Yeah, this is, he might need actually the most, because he's got the most surface area and these folds and things. Need to be hit a few times. Yeah, we'll do some overlapping. I think I can't tell if it's a shadow or if I'm just missing so much inside this fold. I can't tell. Yeah, on camera it looks okay. Yeah, it's a little rough. The cast itself, I think, looks a little rough, so it's kind of throwing me off. Yeah, so this is gonna need another pass. But let's try to get it everywhere it needs to go for now. Yeah, I think that's just that odd texture. And I'm making some bubbles in there too. That's just that odd texture in the coat. So we'll see how that dries. Go back and a little bit more. Okay. And oh, sorry. Oh. And her. Yeah, so as you can see, no, you can't. As you can see, when I'm putting it on, it's a lot lighter before it's dry, and so we just want to keep applying until we're not seeing any of that blue, so that the covers. So the coverage is good and thick and even. Because it definitely dries darker than when it's initially applied. So just keep going over those same spots. There we go. All right. Yeah, I think that'll be a nice change. And I think with the warmer wash, that'll look nice. Oh, her poor arm. Okay. All right. Well, while the are drying, let's go back over with the brown and make sure that's everywhere we need it to be. Okay. So, like the drop bear, we just want to hit all those. Yeah, see, like on the edge there, you can still see some primer. Yeah. Okay, and then the shoulder pads, could use another coat. Yeah, so it dries to a nicer matte color, but for right now, here we go. Okay. under that edge. Alright, there we go. Oh, okay, so maybe that's a good, so touching the tripod on the camera actually is a good reference to getting it oriented. So if I'm painting on the top of it, I guess that's easy for you to see. And no leather on him. And more drop bear coloring. Oh yeah, there's actually some little crevices there that the paint's not flowing into. There we go. Much there. Alright. Then again, with the shoulder pads. There we go. Yeah, I think that contrast is nice. I'm still not completely sold on the Death Guard green, but we'll see. Oof. Let's fill that. We'll see how that looks, especially after the washes. Which I think we're getting pretty close to, because I don't think there's any other kind of major color. So once these guys are dry, it'll be time to wash. So I may have to actually take a break, because there's not much else. I guess, no, I guess we should do the red as well. So let's let these dry for a little bit. Then we'll move on to the red. So I'm going to use just the standard Mephiston red base from Citadel for the red details. And the reason for that, the major reason for that, is I really like the range that they use. So they start, so your base is the Mephiston red, then you go to an Evilson Scarlet, and then a Wild Rider red for the layers. And this is basically just edges, but that's a really nice progression, and it gets more orange as opposed to pink. And a lot of times when people are mixing, they mix white or like a light gray into reds, and that gives you a here, we'll let these guys dry on camera. That gives you a real pinky gradation. And white often is not a great color. I mean, I guess it's okay for, you know, blacks and grays and blues and cooler colors, but a lot of the times you get weird pastels with warmer colors and even yellows and things when you're putting white in them. It's just not the direction needs to go. So yeah, that's what I like about the Citadel range, is they have a lot of nice progressions that have, you know, kind of satisfying light tones, and things don't get so pastel. But okay, oh yeah, actually though, yeah, we're gonna need, I think, another layer on that coat. I don't know, it might be, yeah, we might be okay. Yeah, I think it's okay. So yeah, we'll do the red after they dry up a little bit. So we'll do the masks and the red, and take a look and see what's going on here. All right. Cool. So yeah. So I hope this is working out okay. I'm getting a little bit used to the position of the camera, but I'll have to pay much more attention to that, especially as we get to more finer details. I want you guys to be able to see want you guys to be able to see what's going on a little bit more. So a little bit of a coffee break. So this will be more of the less painting, more talking part, I guess. So just just to kind of give you a little sneak here. I hope I can make this work okay. So here's a little look at the oh, actually, maybe instead of this camera, I should do it with this camera. So here's a little look at the setup for it now. So I'll try to, without disturbing anything, kind of zoom up a little bit. Okay, so here's the, it's going to be out of focus. That's right. So wet palette, paints, then there's the lamp, and right behind that's the monitor. Yeah, sorry about that. Forgot I had a fixed focus because the autofocus, especially with the short distance, I want to have a lot of detail. It's miserable. It just bounces. It's constantly bouncing and refocusing. Okay, so let's take a look again. So here's the set we're painting. I think I've totally knocked this around the wrong way. So here's the set we're working on, and so you can see we're going to be going. Oh yeah, that lower. We're going to have to be going back with some really light gray. But there's the red pants that contrast nicely against the jacket. Oh, I guess it's black on the inside. That's a nice, yeah, for that camo. I might want to go something even brighter than the red they're using between those cells for the optical camo. I've got a nice, there's an interesting line of paints that I haven't gotten a lot of experience with that Vallejo has released. They do a mecha series now, and I don't think it's exclusive to Japan, but I think it's more specialized to be painting Gundam and things. So they've got this crazy, and on camera it's not coming across, but it's an insane fluorescent orange color that I would love to try for like the eyes and optical camo and stuff. Anything that needs to be energy powered in like a red or an orange color. So I got this tin box at the 100 yen store here, and then I just cut up the cardboard from where the miniatures came in, and just taped to the top of the box. But the nice thing about this is when you magnetize them, wow! So here's the yet unpainted rest of my list here. But when you magnetize them like so, and you have a tin box, you can safely store them in here, and they don't go anywhere. They're those rare earth magnets, the real powerful little magnets, and you can keep them in here and keep them nice and sealed up. So we can go over some of the list here. So actually the Spitfire, so the one with the big kind of coppery metallic canister on the rifles, the Spitfire. Everyone else is doing combi rifles and light shotguns. So these are the three we've had, and then the Lieutenant with the combi rifle, light shotgun. So everyone's pretty similarly equipped in this. And then the two we haven't gotten to yet would be the Swiss Guard with the missile launcher. He's pretty huge. Oh, he's got an insignia on his arm. And then the Aquila Guard with the multi-rifle, who's got the big kind of leather coat from the front here, you can see. Yes, there we go. So that'll be a nice one to paint as well, the texture. And then actually on the inside of the cover they do another angle. So here's everybody else at another angle so we can see. Yeah, so as you can see, the blue, when you mix up, you're mixing with white and you're going up to with blue, it's okay. I mean, it is getting kind of pastel-y. It'd be nice for it just to be more brilliant blue. So I'm going to try to use. So I think the lightest blue I'm going to use is this Frisian gray. It's kind of a bluish gray for my highlights, and try to stay away from looking too chalky. I always feel it looks kind of chalky or pastel or airbrushed. That I think maybe airbrush is a airbrush art, that style. They mix a lot of white in. So I'm going to try to stay away from that, to stay away from the airbrush style. I think the one thing I don't like so much about some styles of miniature painting is that they are basically doing they're doing an airbrush painting or an acrylic painting on top of miniatures, because they're forcing the direction of the lighting, and they're kind of giving you a miniaturized forced kind of rendering of these figures, but a lot of the times it just looks like a bad painting on top of the. So when you photograph them, they just look like bad acrylic paint illustrations. So I'm going to try to stay away from that as much as possible and get just some interesting textures and looks. So yeah, so that's how these things are all put together, and so I'll just keep the whole squad in here safe and sound, so they're not gonna get knocked around or anything, as long as the magnets don't fall off. But yeah, that's that little trick for keeping these guys. And actually, I think I'll just keep this off camera just in case I need to refer to it. And a little more coffee. Oh, sorry, coffee's on camera. Oh. So yeah, I hope this is working out. It'd be nice to kind of have this, you know, have a little bit more kind of back and forth conversation as I'm painting. So I'm not just trying to, you know, so I'm not so specifically talking about every brushstroke I'm making or everything I'm doing, and try to get some more, you know, as things occur to me, more of what's going on. But we'll see how that goes. And this is just kind of a test to see how this setup works and how the streaming is going to make this happen. Yeah, I think we're good. I think the coverage is good with all of the colors we're doing, because everything else I think I'm just going to add in later. So as far as our base kind of flat colors, I think we're good with these guys. So we can move on to the, as I said before, Viston Red. So those masks and the shoulder pads and some of the tiny details I'll hit with the red, and I might want to lighten them up a little bit. You know, eventually get some, you know, much brighter highlights in there, and maybe cover up most of this initial red coat. But for now, this is what I'm going to start with to kind of lay in and to kind of, you know, contrast everything that needs to kind of pop out from that blue. So let's get this mixed up here. Yeah, this brush has seen better days, but we will. But it's good enough for doing these flats. Yeah, this guy had a lot of blue on his mask. So basically, the red part is only this kind of over cowl, you know, so like down to here, kind of like reverse Iron Man. So only here into this edge. And then back there will stay blue. Yeah, and I think because we're trying to cover up that blue, we're going to have to do a couple layers of this as well to get a nice even red, without covering up any of those details, because I still need to be able to go back in there and pick out those eyes, as you can see. Alright, well, the harder I try, the more mistakes I'm making. There we go. And he's got, so this is our Spitfire, so yeah, he's got the, they're all going to have red on these shoulder pads. Let's see, how long have I been going for? I'm not even paying attention to that. Oh wow, 2 hours already. Wow, I haven't even gotten the flats in and we've already been streaming for 2 hours. Whoa. Crazy. Alright. Just drop this in just so we can keep this all sorted out, and I think we're gonna go yeah, with that kind of gray metallic around that later. Okay, yeah, but see how nice a contrast that is. I mean, I really love on the art on the box, you know, that really jumps out, that primarily blue battle armor with the red contrasting. It looks great, and that guy doesn't even have the horns, so this will be the even more fun part. So I guess we're doing kind of the over the top of this. Yeah, because who are we looking at here? Yeah. So the top of this up against the leather is all red. And then that the part underneath can be the gray. Okay. And like I said too, some wash on here will give us a nice edge between those parts. Oh, much. Okay, so here's the whole mask. Yeah, this guy's got a nice shape. There we go. Wow, I don't know if I'm gonna say a word when I'm doing really tiny details on these. It's hard because you kind of hold your breath when you're trying to be steady and paint details, and I'm not even doing that yet, and I'm kind of holding my breath and not talking. So yeah, paint streaming might not be an easy thing to master. Yeah, you can see both of these are gonna, I'm sure all of these are gonna need a second coat to make sure that red's nice and strong. Let's make sure the back of these horns are nice and red. But just, yeah, great designs, a real nice mix of kind of, you know, anime feature with a kind of European influence. There we go. And then the other shoulder pad, let's get on there. All right. So right up against the brown. Yeah, I'm actually on camera. Nice. Okay, so we'll just go, yeah, this whole thing, even if we want to pull it back a little bit later. There we go. Yeah, so you can see already that's drawing into a nice, nice deep red. So it looks good. Oh, and I guess, yeah, I guess we should also I should do her hair color as well, because I kind of want to get that blended in. So we'll have to do one more color after the red and get her hair all blonded up. So I don't have this arm, which I think is the only one. Oh no, you can see her shoulder pad from here as well. So this shoulder pad will go all the way up there. And then her mask, and then the other arm I'll do separately. Thick. Yeah. this will need another coat as well. But I want to make sure I'm not gumming up her detail here. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, just kind of clear out those eye holes. I don't want to clog any detail here. So it's always better to spend all your time doing multiple thin coats than to lose, you know, important little details on the miniatures. Sorry, I gotta do this closer to the camera, right? I think I'm totally out of focus. Yeah, I'll need to pass, but yeah, we're still, our eyes are still there. There we go. Inside there. Okay. Yeah, so she'll need her hair color and this guy, the shoulder pads. And his mask. Yeah, that contrast is really great. I like that a lot. The red details on the blue armor look really nice. Okay. All right. Yeah, and it'll be nice to do like some real light, bright, brilliant blue color on their eye holes on the visors to really give you a nice contrast. Wow, yeah, that looks so great. Yeah, this is going to be nice. I mean, this is the kind of boring, uninteresting part of doing this, and then as we start to fill in details and render things, it gets much more fun and exciting, and you get different effects and things going. So this is the least interesting thing that I'm doing, but I wanted to do something not too strenuous, just in case I had to do a lot of management of the video or the chat or something. But yeah, these are great models. I really enjoy the Infinity. I mean, when the metal models come in the pieces, you know, just in the little Ziploc bags, it's always because you know how fiddly it is to, you know, get arms attached at the right angles, and especially when there's two arms holding a gun. I'm sure there's tricks to it, but sometimes things get real out of whack and real frustrating. Yeah, sometimes it's a little discouraging when you have a lot of these guys to put together, and thankfully this is just a skirmish game, so it's not big, you know, you're not doing 30 or 40 of any one thing. But yeah, it's a once you get them together and start painting, it's wonderful. Yeah, these the detail on these and the way they're designed is just gorgeous, and there's so much you can do as far as you know, picking out different details and kind of just enjoying the look and design of this whole world and the technology and everything. All right, so there's the red, and so you can see as it dries, it gives you a nice color. So if you look at the shoulder pad and see how bright that looks, but then when it finally dries on the helmet, you get a really nice color red that you can build up on. So it goes on really bright. So that's a little bit deceiving. I'm sure all paints are like that, but I've specifically, you know, notice it with the Citadel paints, is, you know, when you're blending and when you're doing highlighting, you're like, oh, that's too much or that's not enough, and then it dries and fades so dark that you can't even tell that it was a highlight. It barely contrasts, you know, the colors. So it's tricky to as you're painting, what you're seeing is not. Sorry, maybe I should have everything over here. What you're seeing is not what you're going to get when everything is dry. Okay, so for her hair color, I think I'm just going to do the Vallejo Model Color Deep Yellow. So just as a kind of a base color for her hair, and might need to change that up. I'm not sure, because blonde, I don't want it to look too yellow as blonde, but we'll see. I also don't want it to be brown, so especially with the kind of colorful scheme, and it's so that'll make it kind of primary colors with the color scheme we've got going now. This should be a nice little pop of color. And of course, I think this is going to take a couple of coats too. So, sorry, try to get this on camera here. So her hair, she's just kind of got these little twin tails coming out of her helmet. So I'm going to catch all of that. And I think this is going to dry a little bit darker. I hope it does. I was hoping the deep yellow would give me a little bit more color depth than just a straight primary color yellow that I could then, push into a more human human coloration. But we'll see. Yeah, that was the thing that took a lot of work for me on doing Clan Escher from Necromunda, is getting a fun, bright, nice looking, kind of punk fluorescent hair color. That would got to be a little tricky. Oh boy, this is not gonna go well. I'm gonna get yellow everywhere. Yeah, that was a little bit difficult to get things bright, to find a good combination of how to wash it and then get it back up to that ridiculous, color intensity. That was the first time that I'd done that before and tried to find a way, just like I'm talking about with, you can't add white to make a color necessarily brighter, as in like saturation brighter. So if you want a really bright saturated color, highlighting it is tricky. So there's kind of some color tricks you can do to make that work better, but yeah, it's not easy, and you gotta kind of keep playing with it to get the effect that you want. Alright, so there's Blondie. We're gonna have to go back and do some another layer on there, but that's her. Those are her little twin tails, and actually, oh yeah, I did get underneath it enough, I think. Oh, sorry, this is out of focus, but I needed to lay it down. But there we are. Okay. Ta-da. Okay, there we are. All right, so that's blonde for now. We'll go back and touch that up again. And now let's go back and get that red more consistent. I think we're okay. Just a little bit more probably though. It's pretty good. But just another thin coat to get it nice and even, so it's not. We're gonna do the damage later ourselves. We don't need the color showing underneath looking like dirt or damage. Yeah, so that's kind of the thinking, is you want to start with a nice flat even color, and then you can decide, how dirty or damaged or weathered you want things to look. But when you haven't done that well with the original base, then some of those things are kind of naturally already decided for you, and that's not always the best situation. Alright. Be another layer. him. And the shoulder pad. Yeah, see how crazy that is? You put that red on there, it's like, it doesn't even look like the same color, and then when it dries, magically it is. Alright, so just hit some of the parts that look like they really need evening out. Sorry. I'm using that table. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll experiment. I'll turn the autofocus back on and see if that isn't too annoying. But I think with this high resolution and this big, you know, the kind of full screen, that will get kind of annoying if this image is bouncing and not staying focused. But I guess I've been going out of focus enough. I don't know. Don't know. We'll have to see what's less annoying. There we go. All right. The one thing about the miniatures painting I keep hearing again and again is the best way to, you know, get more confidence or be good at it or feel, you know, enjoy it is just do it. You know, do it as much as possible, and that way you get your feel for it and how thick you want paint to be, and you know, you just really start to learn the actual skill of it. And whoa, well, that's good enough. But that's yeah, only through practice. It's just one of those things that the more you do it, the more confident you get, and then you know your kind of limitations. Oh, that's another thing. I think I'm going to do a smaller brush, but I want to go through these guys with details and all of these small circular areas. I think I want those all to be red, or at least, you know, start off as red. So let's do that as well. So let's just get this guy another coat, and then I'll switch brushes. Yeah, I like the design of that a lot. Yeah, there's a little bit of a gap there that paint is not going to fill, but a little bit of gap between the front and the back, where the back of his helmet went on. Hopefully it's not too noticeable. Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm covering my where I'm painting. You can see, yeah, that separation I'm talking about. I think that they try to hide it, you know, within the line of the mask, but yeah, you can see that, especially on this side. I don't think I got it pushed in enough, but it'll work. Yeah, that's the other thing with the painting fewer numbers of models, is you can definitely lavish more time and detail on them, but if you don't spend a lot of time painting, or you know, aren't very good, then the few guys you have, you know, you just noticeable, much more noticeable when it's only a small force of, oh, those aren't painted so well. That's a very funny thing. They've, you know, tried to make the hobby more approachable with skirmish games, where you have fewer number of models, less actual hobbying to do to get that to work. But at the same time, then people that don't devote much time to it, their stuff looks that much worse, which is funny. Okay. Yeah, that first, I don't know what happened with her first coat. Not good. Some poorly mixed paint, I think. Alright, and she's got the one shoulder pad over here. Okay, yeah, that on camera you don't see it so much, but the blonde is a real kind of brilliant flash of yellow, so that's nice. It'll be a nice contrast. Okay, so let's switch brushes to a smaller brush and go back in and do some of the little red. So I'm just switching to what is 000. Oh, it's the same kind of cheaper hobby brush, Japanese Athena cheaper hobby brush, but I want to go back and nail some of these little spots. So for example, like these guys, get some red in there before we wash, just as kind of a base to get those brighter and brighter. And it's a nice contrast in the middle of all that blue. Maybe that. I might change my mind about that, but and on this side, get the same thing. So if you don't hit it perfectly, the wash is going to kind of forgive you from some of those sins. So that's always a nice thing, actually. You can see little details and little details with this. Alright, so yeah, those I want to hit on all of these. All of their armor. Oh, she doesn't have them. Yeah, so maybe it's just those two guys. Yeah, she doesn't have any of the little... Actually, these might be good. I should look at everyone's backpack. There's a couple of spots that might look nice. It's kind of energy powered. Let's check him. Yeah, he's got the same. Let's make those red as well. And this is just kind of a starting point. We're gonna definitely have to highlight a little bit more, but I just want to get those marked out too. So as we're going through, oh, actually, and also maybe this display should jump out as red and probably like more orange in the future. Yeah, but there we go. Just some simple little picking out those things so we don't miss them later, and also more visual variety. Yeah, she doesn't have anything else. So these guys. And I gotta get this side a little better. And oh, this one. Weird angle. All right. And then his backpack. There we go. Great. Oh, yeah, and I guess one more thing we should do is the base color. I should get that gray in there so I can just kind of wash everything at the same time. Yeah, he's got a little bit, they're a little bit different, but yeah, he's got the same kind of details here. Oh, actually, let's do his pants too while we're doing red. I forgot. He's going to be Mr. Red Pants. Which I guess I should use the bigger brush for. Yeah, maybe. Okay, let's see. Because that's all strapping, so yeah, I guess it's not that much red, so we'll just wing it with this tiny brush. And these are going to have to be reinforced. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And let's check his backpack. Maybe we can do this top spot here, but otherwise, whoa, that's a mess. Yeah, well, we'll just have to clean that up later. Yeah, but yeah, the red pants I think will work. It's a much nicer contrast than if I did brown. And I guess I do want to do, yeah, well, maybe start with red. Yeah, that might be good. So start with red for this detail, and then give me a base to go lighter for his kind of camo. So just fill in where that is a little bit, and then I'll go back over and do the detail. Oh yeah, that looks great. And maybe, I don't know if I'll go black, but maybe like a gray or something on the underside here. So yeah, oh, now it's just getting a mess. Yeah, but that's a nice look. Definitely. Yeah, so that edge of his pants are covering is there. A little bit more of this detail under here. Yeah, and it kind of actually just fades away, doesn't it? Yeah, we'll see how that goes later. Everybody's red's looking good. His pants are gonna need one more coat, I think, as they're drying. Just make sure they're a solid red. Alright, there we go. Yeah, I think red pants look pretty cool for that guy. He's got the camouflage so he can wear red. Alright, so that's everybody's, yeah, little details and pieces. So maybe with this little brush that I've got going, I'll do another pass on her hair. That way I can nail all the detail. Let's see. Yeah, because the recesses are nice, but outside is still not very. You still see too much blue. It's kind of green on top. Yeah, it's probably gonna need a few passes. There we go. One more shot at the yellow. All right. Okay, so let's switch back to the 2. And I was thinking about just doing the standard gray. So this Mechanicus standard gray for the stones on the base, and of course, like, you know, lightening up and everything later, but let's just start with this. Actually, I might even want to go. Let me go with a bigger brush. This is a pretty beat up older brush, but I think to get this base color. So this is the this is a Holbein #1, but it's been pretty tortured. So the short bristle, but it's much thicker. You'll see it's much thicker. So it'll make much faster work of this, just covering all those stones. Alright, let's do this. Sorry. Should there be a palette cam, I wonder? I don't know how interesting that would be. And I'm not going to be doing a lot of mixing, so maybe that's not all that important. Okay, so we're just going to do kind of a thick coat on the tiles here on the base. Just get the basic look of that done. I'm going to go back through and do some, you know, dirt in between, and also clean up the edge, probably with a black around the edge. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, so where there's the where you see the tile and the dirt, everything on this top part here, we just want to cover up, just quick and dirty, because we'll do a lot more texturing and dry brushing and everything later. And so maybe, well, this has been going on for a while, so maybe what I'll just do is once this is finished, that'll be the end of the stream, and then I'll do all the washes off camera, and so then when I come back next time, everything will be flatted and washed, so you can see the results instead of, because I think, you know, washes take so long to dry, I don't think I need to do that on camera. And keep my head on camera, so yeah, we'll probably do it that way. Makes more sense. Alright, so yeah, I was just thinking about something like that for the base, just to get the stony gray in there. And we'll do a lot more with the base, maybe even like, you know, gluing in the crevices there, and then we can do some flocking or something. I haven't done that before with the Infinity models, but something like that might be interesting to get a little more variety of texture and color, you know, going on the bases. And this is also so when I'm doing details on the boots and stuff, I don't have to worry about ruining that later with this step, this kind of sloppy, you know, base color step. Alright, there we go. So you can go over that edge, because that's going to be all fixed later, but just make sure that there's something everywhere. So there. So that's all glossy now, but as soon as that dries, it'll be a nice flat, kind of stony color. Yeah, that was very fortunate, the excessive tiny plastic triangles from that sheet magnet. I'm glad I didn't just pitch that, because yeah, that recycled pretty well. I can't wait to see, like, once I get this the finishing weathering and the dry brushing and stuff on the bases, how it ultimately looks, because it's got a nice broken look, but you know, because it's triangular, a little bit more, you know, kind of futuristic or, you know, sci-fi, I thought. So let's see if that's true once we get it all worked out. Yes, I'm already blowing over the boots a little bit, but it's good to do that now instead of later, so get this out of the way. It's gonna be a hole he's walking in. Oh, that looks pretty good. Looks like he left that in the ground. Alright, and last. And also for me, so you notice I'm doing the 4 at a time. I mean, there's like a total of 8 for this this list, but 4 at a time seems to be a good number to just kind of rotate between, because as you've noticed, when I'm doing different colors, like, things are finished drying by the time you get to the 4th one, you know, doing all the blacks, and then they're dried on the first one. So it's a good number to work on at one time. I think I usually am doing like 4 or 5, and so as you're rotating through them, they're dry by the time you get to the last one, so you can switch to the next color and move on to the next. So that seems to be a nice way to kind of keep things moving, and you're not spending a lot of time, you know, sitting and waiting for things to dry. Although I probably don't take breaks as often as I should doing this, because I always walk away from the painting table pretty sore and tired. But that probably comes from the my animation work. That was always the thing you did when you were doing these you know, repetitive things that just needed to be done, is one more, okay, just 10 more, just 10 more. And I've done that. I get in that mode with miniature painting as well, and then you just end up hurting yourself because you're like, oh, just do one more color, just get everything washed, get everything based, and you just keep pushing. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. I mean, it's just a base color too. We're gonna warm that up with a wash and get that detail. There we are. All right. So that's all of our flats, and I think that's gonna be it. Yeah, because the only thing left to do now is basing. So here's our, I'm not going to be able to get these easily on camera. So here's what we did so far in just a few hours, literally 2.5. So that's just all the basic colors on these guys, and the next time you see them, oh yeah, holding them up works better. So the next time you see them, they'll be washed, and I guess the cruddy looking wet bases don't look so great, but yeah, so the next time you see them, they'll be washed, and you'll really notice how that, you know, picks up all this detail and you know, mutes the colors and blends them and gives you a chance to have a kind of a darker, less saturated base to then really pull details and highlights out and really you know, work on the lighting on them. So right now this is just the least fun, most basic part of doing this, but it was the thing that I thought I had the most confidence that I could actually get away with. Yeah, so I will put this on the YouTube channel, and thanks for watching. So please subscribe to our YouTube, or visit our website, idleredhands.com, and subscribe to the podcast with your favorite podcast software aggregator. I don't know what they're even called. And yeah, and listen to us. So there is or there will be some discussion of Infinity, but there is a Malifaux discussion if you want to talk about miniature games. And we did an unboxing of the starter set for 40K, for 8th edition 40K. So there's some miniature wargaming and information up there, and hopefully we will have a more consistent painting schedule. So we'll talk about some different games, and we're going to be, oh, here's a little teaser, and we're going to be taking some cheap model cars and turning those into Gasland's death machines. So there'll be a little bit of that, and that'll be fun, because it's going to be random bits and just whatever we can do to make these things look post-apocalyptic. Because yeah, got a hold of some little kids' cars, and we're gonna see what we can do to make them look vicious and powerful on the Gasland's track. Okay, so that'll be coming up, and yeah, please like and share, and we will see you next time with some more painting and some more rambling, and hopefully most of it will be on camera. So thanks for joining me, and see you next time. Goodbye.